Hey guys, MCU Collector here with another figure review. Next up is the Hasbro Marvel Legends series Spider-Man, the animated series VHS style packaging 2-pack of Doc Ock and Aunt May. This arrived while I was actually out in Florida on my Disney World vacation, so I'm just now getting to reviewing it. And this is a very awesome pack. I know somebody had posted on Instagram that I wouldn't like it, and I've seen other posts of people saying the tentacles don't even stay on. What's up with this Doc Ock? And maybe, I don't know if it was this Doc Ock or if they were trying the tentacles on the other ones. These things plug in. They do not fall out. So I don't know exactly what that is, and I can be very, very ill-informed on that and not really pay attention to that video if it was satire, or if they didn't know you just have to force them and plug them all the way in. Or whatever the case may be. But this is an awesome Doc Ock. Like, how cool is it that we get this version of Doc Ock, you know, the animated series, which is wildly different from the comics Doc Ock. I can't believe we have it. I'm trying to think back to my childhood and if I ever actually had the Doc Ock figure. And I actually don't know if I did. But now I do, and it's awesome. And he has the dumbest haircut, but the figure is just so cool. The Aunt May figure is what it is. I would never expect a whole lot out of an Aunt May figure, but here we have it. I'm trying to think back at a pure memory of what Aunt May looked like, and I don't think the figure represents her well. Would be my only gripe. Other than that, I don't care that there's extremely limited articulation to her, because what are you going to have her do, right? But again, I have to look back. I'll have to check images and videos and see really how her likeness is and how it compares to the show. Because again, I think it's a little bit off, or they added too realistic look to the face. You know, she's got a lot of wrinkles and stuff. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know, but I can tell you right now, the Doc Ock figure is really awesome. I really love the way it looks. The cell shading that they've taken is not too bad. It's pretty subtle. I'm not the biggest fan of cell shading. You know, some of the X-Men figures did it well. Some of them did not. I liked that some figures don't get cell shading, it seems. Like Carnage, I mean, there's no real way to make the Carnage figure work. Aunt May gets no cell shading. And Doc Ock has extremely minimal, because it's really only on his sunglasses, which I like. But anyway, let's get in for a closer look. We're going to get Aunt May out of the way, and then we'll take a look at Doc Ock, and we'll look at his bendy wire tentacles, and we'll swap them out with the other Doc Ock releases. Looking at the package, you could just see it says Doc Ock and Aunt May. On the back, we get the two there. Interestingly enough, all the VHS 2-packs are all numbered 1 and 2 as opposed to numbering them each differently, but I get it. It's tape 1, tape 2, and then you have the artwork there. But we'll get that box out of the way. This is exclusive to Hasbro Pulse. I'm assuming that it is in stock right now. I don't know if Shop Disney are going to be getting these 2-packs or not. They might, but let's go ahead and take a look. Again, we're going to look at Aunt May first and just get her out of the way. Okay, so here is the up-close look at Aunt May, and again, I just don't really see the likeness. I think the hair is there. Again, they just went for a much more realistic look, and we get a lot more wrinkles on her face than really we got to see in the cartoon animated series. Whereas, you know, it was a lot more smooth. You wouldn't necessarily see it. So she just does not. The figure makes her look much older than she looked in the show. That's my only complaint. Other than that, just having an Aunt May figure, no matter how it is, she's not going to do a whole lot. So I am perfectly good with the way this figure came out. She has no slits in the skirt, so you can't separate the legs out really. Bending the knee is very limited. And again, to me, it doesn't even matter. She's got a waist swivel in there. There might be an ab crunch under that jacket. Who even knows? The shoulder comes and goes straight out. You get a swivel at the elbow because it is single jointed. You get about a 90-degree bend there, and wrist swivel. She actually comes with interchangeable hands, so why she comes with fists also in addition to these open hands, who knows? The head, you know, she can look up. Hardly at all. She can look down decently enough. You get a swivel in the head. But that's it for the articulation. We aren't going to go over her a whole lot. Foot hinges, ankle pivot, peg holes at the bottom of the feet. Ankle pivot? Ankle pivot? Does it pivot? Pivots very lightly, I guess. It's stiff. But anyway, there is the Aunt May figure. I'm just happy to have an Aunt May figure. But in all honesty, I would have been okay without getting an Aunt May figure. But we have it. And it's cool that she comes with a really awesome one. So enough about Aunt May. We're going to get right into Doc Ock, because that's what this pack is really all about. In terms of accessories, he has his 4 tentacles, of course, but he does come with a pair of fists, as you can see here. For some reason, this fist has got some green to it. That's weird, right at the knuckle. But anyway, yes, Doc Ock. Look at that haircut. God, isn't that stupid? Holy shit. The cell shading, again, just on the sunglasses there, and that looks pretty good. The head sculpt, very nicely done. The only thing, I think some panel lining on the yellow would have been nice to kind of bring out some of the details of the sculpt. But other than that, I like it. I think it looks good. We get the orange there on the boots. Unfortunately, the disc hinge wasn't painted, so you just see yellow over the orange. It is pinless, so we get pinless double jointed knees, pinless double jointed elbows, and we have bendy wire tentacles, finally. There's a couple of variations to it, so you get these ones with the claws that are open. I think these were swappable, weren't they? Yep, look at that. They're on ball pegs. So you get 2 that have the open claws, as you can see there, and then you have other 2 that have the claws that are kind of closed. Now, people were talking about how they don't stay in. Like, you have to force it. So you see right here on this peg, you have that rim right there. You have to force it beyond that rim. Like, you can't just say, "Oh, well, that's it," and then look at that, it just falls right out. And again, I saw a video on it. It wasn't a review. I think it was on Instagram. I don't know if it was, again, if it was just like satire and saying, "Oh, look, it doesn't stay," or if it was truly honest. I thought I had seen some comments saying the tentacles don't stay in. You have to force it in there. But once you do, they're not going anywhere. Like, and I can't even do it again now. See? Not going anywhere. They stay on there nice and tough. They're not coming out now. They're nice and secure in there. But the tentacle is bendy wire, so you can move them around all like different directions for the most part, right? I mean, you can't get it like too tight and get it to stay, but you can move them around and everything like that, which is great. You can kind of swivel around because they're pegged in there. Ooh. Do they have a hinge? No. I thought it had a hinge because of the design of it. I'm like, oh, do they have a hinge? They don't. But again, it's bendy wire, so you can just move it around, you know, as you need. You can do all kinds of cool stuff. So that is the Doc Ock. And yes, the Doc Ock from the animated series just looks absolutely ridiculous, but I love it. Let's go ahead and take a look at his articulation. Okay, so Doc Ock's articulation. So his head is on a dumbbell joint. So looking up, he can look up that much. That's actually not too bad. A little bit is going to be in that separate neck piece that's in there, because that allows for a little bit additional motion. Looking down, unfortunately, doesn't seem to really be working out. These tentacles are just all in the way, hitting poster board in the back. So looking down is just unfortunately not a whole lot. I mean, even with that separate neck articulation in there, it doesn't lean enough forward in the head to look down to really be able to get him to look down a decent amount. But he can do some full rotation in there, and you get some crazy pivot going on. The shoulders, ooh, I don't like the way that shoulder's pegged into that bicep. Ooh, I don't like that at all. I'm stressing out the plastic trying to get his shoulders up. Not a fan of that at all. So I would tell you, don't try and get these arms to go straight on out, because I don't know if you guys could see, if I can get this in camera, that is stressing the hell out of the plastic. Not a fan of that. That is pretty crap. So nope, I won't be doing that. I don't even see the hinge. There's a hinge on there, but no, I'm not doing it. So that's terrible. You can't get the arms to go straight on out. But the good thing is, Doc Ock is kind of lazy with it, right? He's not going to use his arms so much. He's going to use the tentacles to do a lot of that stuff. So can't get the shoulder, so you can't do a full rotation. Plus the shoulder pad armor would kind of get in the way. So just a heads up on that. You do have the upper bicep swivel in there, and you do get a double jointed elbow. You got to work that forearm first. You're only going to get actually just about 90 degrees with it. Wrists swivel, and they do hinge. The open hands, actually the left has the standard horizontal hinge. The right does have a vertical hinge though. That's interesting. Nothing to hold with that hand. And then the fists have the standard horizontal hinge as well. There's no ab crunch on this guy, but we get a ball joint waist to kind of make up for it a little bit. So you can get Doc Ock to tilt to his left that much. You can get him to tilt to his right that much. Going back is only a little. Coming forward is only a little as well. You get swivel at that ball joint waist. Man, these tentacles just get in the damn way. Legs go out that far apart, which is really good. He can't kick forward that high, so not too shabby. Leg goes back actually a decent ways there. You do have the upper thigh cut in there. Double jointed pinless knee. So let's see, you can get that much bend there at the knee with the boot. You do get a... Oh, there is not a boot swivel. Let me see. No boot swivel, unfortunately. Foot hinges all the way down, hinge up, ankle pivot, peg-holes at the bottom of the feet. So he's got some limitations to the articulation, but again, with when it comes to Doc Ock, you know, he's really going to utilize the tentacles to do a lot of his movements for him. So like he'll walk on the tentacles and things like that. I have seen pictures of people getting him to stand on the tentacles, so I'm going to go ahead and try to do that off camera, and then if I can get it, then you'll see like video of him like already set up that way. Okay, so I had to zoom out a little bit here, and yes, the tentacles will hold the weight. He's not, well, not for long, I guess. But the tricky thing is because, you know, depending on the surface that you have him in, my tentacles are all like sliding around and everything, and you have to position them each in a certain way, and sometimes the bendy wire isn't like the most forgiving when it comes to doing stuff like that, and it just kind of wants to separate out. But you had seen that I did have it on there for a quick second, so it is possible. But again, you just have to position the tentacles in the right spots to be able to do it, and yes, it can technically be done. Okay, so here is the comparison with the comic version. This was the first release. There was another one that came out in a 2-pack that was exclusive to Amazon that came with Silk. But they're essentially the same Doc Ocks, you know, the yellow and the green, slightly different head sculpts or whatever. But you can see here we have the two versions. You could see they were very different between the two, you know, the comic version and the animated series version. But the tentacles and things can get swapped around, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. One thing that I want to check is if we pop these claws off the ends of the tentacles, can we swap them out with these ones? And it looks like we absolutely can. The color is going to be a little bit different, and I wonder if the other tentacles from the other Doc Ock could be. I have that packed away, but you could use these. They're a little bit loose on there, so it kind of wobbles around, but it does pop on there, and it's not going to like easily fall off or anything like that. So that is an option if you wanted to change those out as well. We will see, but I'm going to go ahead and swap these tentacles around, and then next video clip you will see them already swapped. Oh, in case I haven't seen it, this is how the Doc Ock looks without the tentacles on the sides. Okay, well, I only put 2 on the older comic version because it was kind of a pain in the ass. You really have to force them in there a little bit more. So I'm just not a big fan of doing that because I don't know if it stretches out that plastic ring portion that's supposed to really keep it, you know, snug on the animated version. But here we have the animated version with the older tentacles on there. And it's funny because the old comic version, they would just come straight out of his back. But on this one, they come out of the side. So in doing that, you know, I basically just created a figure 8 here on his back because of how they're positioned to do. So because these aren't, you know, bendy wire, you can't get them to like go out in front of him. They just kind of go off to the sides, either up or down. Now, that video that I had mentioned earlier that I had seen, maybe it was these tentacles that they said couldn't stay on, but they don't fall off in any way. Like, you could just easily pull them out, but they don't fall out. So I don't know, again, what the issue there was, but yeah. Anyway, more so the side-by-side comparison of the two Doc Ocks. There we go. Okay, and here is our full lineup of the Spider-Man, the animated series figures. We have the cel-shaded Hasbro PulseCon exclusive Venom that was on the retro card, the Walmart exclusive retro card cel-shaded Spider-Man figure, and then the first VHS 2-pack of Carnage and the Symbiote Spider-Man, and then this 2-pack of Doc Ock and Aunt May. I think the only other 2-pack is the next one, which is the Green Goblin and Mary Jane. Very, very, very excited for that Mary Jane figure. The Mary Jane Watson. The Green Goblin looks okay. The Norman Osborn head sculpt is there. And I think we had two really good Green Goblin figures already. This one is a step down. It's similar to that Hobgoblin retro release, you know, where it gets the Bucky cap, arms and legs without the chainmail, unfortunately. But we're getting that Mary Jane Watson figure. So for the most part, every pack is like one really wanted figure where another one is, maybe not so much. I think that's going to be the trend that we will see. Again, I fully expect to get a damn Peter Parker figure in this lineup. If we don't get a Peter Parker figure, I'm going to be sad. I'm going to be really sad because I really thought Peter Parker and Mary Jane was going to happen as a 2-pack. It did not. So Peter Parker has to be coming. Who they would pair that with, I don't even know at this point. I would, who knows? Maybe we'll get another damn Shocker figure. I think at one time Dan did say that there would be figures that we have not seen before, whether it's like a different iteration of that figure. Like a Shocker figure would have to be the same as the retro version. I don't think they can give us an armored Spider-Man because that one that we got is good, but it's truly a Gamerverse figure. They could pass it off as the animated series, but it would not be even remotely close to accurate. So I don't know. We'll see. You guys let me know down in the comments. But oh, Chameleon. It's got to be Chameleon, right? Give us a Peter Parker and a Chameleon 2-pack. That's the 2-pack. That's my guess. But we'll see if it ends up being true. You guys let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let me know what you think of the Ant-Man and the Doc Ock pack. Again, Doc Ock is the highlight of the 2-pack. Aunt May is just cool to have. It's not necessary. She doesn't do anything. She hardly moves. And that's fine. I'm completely okay with that. I would never expect a whole lot of movement or anything out of Aunt May. But the Doc Ock figure is done extremely nicely. I really like it. The bendy wire tentacles are really nice, but they're so damn big and they kind of really get in the way when you want to pose it around. So you really need to make sure that you have plenty of space with wherever you're working to set up. Whether it's on display, you got to have a lot of room nearby because those tentacles, man. And then sometimes it's going to be a little bit of a balancing act on kind of how you're going to position the tentacles. If you get them all forward, it's going to be very front heavy and want to fall forward. You put them all back, it's going to be back heavy, it's going to fall back. Things to think about. But I'm happy with the 2-pack, the VHS style 2-packs that are exclusive to Hasbro Pulse. Maybe Shop Disney, I don't know about that. But you guys let me know your thoughts on it. I love it. I recommend it. The price is high. I think, what, $56? It's pricey. They're pricey. They're overpriced. But, unfortunately, that's if we want it, then that's how we get it. With it being exclusive to Pulse, I don't think there's going to be any kind of clearance unless they do that whole thing at the end, towards the end of the year, where it's buy so much, spend so much, get 15-30% off, or whatever the hell it was that they called it. At that point, I had everything, so I couldn't take advantage of the sale. Maybe there will be that. I don't know. You guys let me know what you think in the comments below. If you guys liked the video, please do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. Hit that join button to become a channel member and be a part of the MCU Collective. And as always, thank you for watching.